So 3 things to know about broadband. That was the topic of a conversation this morning here at the TIS 18, the independent show. Tom Whitaker, you were on the panel. One of the things that you said has been working for you is managed Wi-Fi. Why don't you talk to that for a moment? We'll have a conversation.
All right. We launched managed Wi-Fi modems from Hytron, one of the vendors here at the show today. After an evaluation, we felt that was the best modem to launch at the time. One of the reasons we went with Hytron is because they have a consumer app that allows the customer to be able to see what's going on behind the modem inside their house, see all the connected devices to their modem and see how each one of those devices is performing, as well as configure those devices for the best performance. So if you're going to sit down and watch a movie on your big screen TV and you want to direct most of the bandwidth to that TV, you can use the consumer app to do that. It's also an 802.11 AC modem, so it's a multi-MIMO, multi-radio in and out. And it's also a MoCA modem, so we're allowed to, or it makes it available for us to be able to put repeaters in that covers every corner of the home, and that's how we market it as wall-to-wall Wi-Fi that covers every corner of your home.
And I imagine it reduces expenses in terms of truck rolls and customer service calls?
Yep, better service metrics, and of course we're charging a slightly higher rental fee on that modem, and at the current rate it's probably going to generate about $250,000 new revenue this year.
Well, and that becomes important because we heard about video being a challenge, right? I think that was in your panel. If not, I'm sure it is a challenge.
Sure, we are somewhere between 5 and 6% less video customers right now than we had at the end of the year, 2016. And it's not so much a churn problem. Churn's been relatively flat, 2016 through 2018. In the low 2%, 2.25%. The problem's top line growth. So there aren't customers coming in the top like they're used to that are selecting QAM as a traditional video solution because they have more options. And those options are much cheaper because of the kind of the stranglehold that the programmer has on the traditional MSOs for programming.
Yeah, and so the margins aren't very good either.
No, and they're not going to get any better. Because we have another aggressive round of program agreements coming up this year, NBCU. The future of video is not bright when it comes to margins, and so we have to find ways to be more creative, not just with other revenue solutions, but also how can you make video relevant? We've launched TiVo earlier this year. It's exceeded our expectations slightly, especially when you bundle it with other premium services. There's some higher ARPU customers out there when you look at the combined services who take a triple play. And those high value customers are very low churn, very high customer ARPU, and want advanced services like TiVo throughout the home, like whole home Wi-Fi, and they even still get traditional dial tone.
Well, and that's, you talked about, I think one of you talked about finding the right customers, and it sounds like that is what TiVo's allowed you to do.
It has. I mean, TiVo still has some brand recognition, but it's not going to save video. So really, it comes down to some providers are taking different positions, just kind of letting video die a graceful death, all the way over to, rolling out IP video to complement your QAM solution and trying to offer a different type of service. We're kind of in the middle. We're definitely a big fan of TiVo, but we also know at the same time it's not going to save the video business.
And switching gears a little bit, I was fascinated by your analysis of 5G and its potential as a competitive threat.
Well, Shentel is a wireless provider. We're a Sprint affiliate. We have about 1 million wireless customers. So we have a lot of data on how our wireless customers use their wireless phones, especially in non-traditional ways, watching streaming and doing other things on their phone and tablet on the Sprint network. And I think the most fascinating thing about a mobile user that streams is they only use a fraction of what a terrestrial customer streams over the course of an average month. 10 gigs for a mobile user compared to 200 for somebody who's using a cable modem. And that really speaks to the characteristics of how people differentiate between mobile use and fixed use in the home. And it's probably very subconscious in the customer's mind. They don't People aren't going to connect to the Sprint Unlimited network and sit in their car, or even sit at home for that matter, and stream Netflix. They're going to connect to their wireless router. So we've got to make sure that wireless router is the best, the deepest, the most robust, the best performing piece of equipment that the customer has in the home. And you got to go with 3.1 if you're going to do that, both your modems and your network, of course. But when it comes to competing against 5G, we don't see that as an immediate threat as a wireless provider now, because we know that the spectrum that most of the providers want to use for 5G is still out there up for auction later on this year, the millimeter wave stuff. T-Mobile is out there building 600 megahertz 5G in the kind of the AWS type spectrum that they own, and that's really sweet spectrum at 600 megahertz, great penetration, relatively good characteristics across the board, but they've got to build the entire country at 600 megahertz.
And the throughput isn't the same, right?
No, it's lower. So I don't have to worry about them coming to my town, a 7,000 pop town in the Shentel, Virginia. I just don't expect them to come there. Nor do I expect Verizon or AT&T to use millimeter wave in a town where they're going to have to deploy 60 or 70 sites to cover 2 square miles, and their cost per covered pop is going to be $60. They're going to go to a 200,000 pop town where their cost per covered pop is going to be $15, even if they have to deploy 300 mini sites.
And so what about CBRS, though? You mentioned that as potential.
Yeah, that's going to be, I've heard people call that kind of the Goldilocks spectrum, not too high, not too low, good speed, relatively good penetration characteristics, high capacity, high performance. But again, that's going to be an auction, and the rules and the dates haven't been sent for that auction yet. And keep in mind, all of these frequencies that are up for auction have to be relocated after they're sold, because that usually fall back on the guy that won the license. So that stuff is way over the horizon. Don't ignore it, but it's not an immediate threat.
It sounds like if you continue to keep on keeping on as far as building out and investing in your network, you'll probably be fine.
Yeah, just keep your head on a swivel.